Africa's Great Lakes region has for decades been plagued by political instability and armed conflict that has brought great suffering to citizens of countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Uganda, South Sudan, and more recently Burundi. Burundi is still recovering from an attempted coup which activists said was against the unconstitutional extension of a third term by President Pierre Nkurunziza. The history of the region has been characterized by coups and violence orchestrated by the political class. Dr. Arthur Beinomcha is a regional security analyst who blames the region's leaders for sinking their countries into chaos.
One of the challenges that we have had is that most leaders, once they come to power, they become rulers. They become, now power, they shift power to belong to them rather than people, because in a democracy, power belongs to the people, and it's given out to leaders on a contractual basis.
The Democratic Republic of Congo is a resource-rich nation that is very big, similar in size to Western Europe. It is rich in diamonds, gold, copper, cobalt and zinc. According to Dismas Nkunda, the executive director of the International Refugee Rights Initiative, the wealth in the region has presented a ripe opportunity for conflict.
There is an attraction from not within the countries themselves and from interests outside the countries in Africa, international companies that want to get the minerals. So some of them actually cause the conflicts unknowingly by trying to extract and leave most of the people who are supposed to gain from those resources poorer.
Because of the numerous conflicts in the region, the growing influx of refugees in countries like Uganda and Kenya, which are home to some of the biggest refugee bases, have somewhat fueled the conflicts in the region.
And you know, some of the refugees come with guns, but they also have an interest of going back, so it can be used as a launch pad. Congo harbors so many refugees that are armed with those interests. So unless you deal with the refugee crisis in the region, you'll have that problem.
According to analysts, the region has been faced with the challenge of ethnicity. Rwanda and Burundi had a fair share of this in the early 90s. In 2008, Kenya witnessed the post-election violence which further widened the ethnic tensions.
We are tribalistic, we have a lot of ethnic nationalism. And yes, the role of the constitutions then are supposed to show us how we're supposed to be governed, including sharing power, sharing the resources. But most times these constitutions are not followed. Most times leaders are quick to exclude others from power.
The current global threat of terrorism has drawn countries like Uganda, Kenya and Burundi into fighting extremists in the region. Whereas Uganda has been credited for restoring normals in some of the countries, Dismas says it has often been caught on the wrong side.
Save for a country that goes through the right electoral system, Tanzania. The rest of the countries in the region, it's during the time when they are tottering towards election, there's always tensions, there's always a problem of who is legitimate, who is not legitimate. So all the countries are vulnerable. Even Uganda itself is not that safe, that it's out of the woods, no. So I would think that the various countries in the region need to look inside, in particular the question of electoral democracy.
Analysts contend that if these issues are not addressed, the Great Lakes region could slide back into war. Shiland Huchure, NTV Weekend Edition.